This is episode 38 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Welcome to episode 38 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today I have the man that's bringing Grant Cardone to Toronto on the podcast. This is a really cool podcast with Erwin Szeto. And that's right, he's bringing Grant Cardone to Toronto on November 9th, which is this Saturday. And he came on the podcast to talk about his particular recipe for wealth creation. Erwin likes to call it wealth hacking. He's a real estate investor since 2005. But he's also into several other types of investing, including naked put options, which are something I had never heard of before this episode. It was an interesting conversation to learn that it's not just about real estate investing. There is a basket of items that create wealth, and Irwin is someone who's practicing that. I'm really excited to go to his conference, which is happening this weekend, and learning more about what it is that he's doing. Some quick housekeeping before we get into the podcast. The next Greater Hamilton REI meetup is happening on Thursday, November 21st. Please check out the show notes for the link to the Greater Hamilton REI meetup group on Facebook. This is a resource for everyone who's a part of it. We've got tons of active investors that are on our Facebook group and come out to our event. They're ready and willing to share. So if you're already an established investor and you want to take it to the next level, this is the place to be. The people that you want to know come to this event, and I absolutely love it, and I know you're going to love it too. So please either click the link in the show notes to join our Facebook group, or you can DM me at the Andrew Hines on Facebook or Instagram, and I can get you the link that way as well. So without further ado, please enjoy episode 38 with Erwin Szeto. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Erwin Szeto on the podcast. You heard that right. Erwin, how you doing?
Excellent. Thanks for having me on. This pod's blowing up. Everyone's talking about it.
I appreciate you coming on because, you're a fellow podcast host. So I had Sarah Larby and Alfonso on, also podcast hosts. So making the rounds, but yours is obviously huge and you have a big following, but you're not just podcasting. You're doing a heck of a lot more than that. So for anyone that doesn't know who you are, could you just give, I know 30 seconds won't be enough. Maybe we'll give you a minute to summarize your journey in real estate and social media at the moment too.
Right. So most people know me for my podcast. People are very kind. I've been the podcast has been named a top 10 podcast for in Canada for in the real estate space. I've been named a top 20 influencer in Canadian real estate. I've been a real estate investor since about 2005-ish. I've been around for a while. I have a business where we help teach people from the Toronto area to buy real estate, mostly in Hamilton, St. Catharines, Brantford, a little bit of Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge. And I'm known a lot for my charity work as well. It's called the Hamilton Basket Brigade. We try to help the most impoverished people in the city.
Okay.
Because that's kind of our mission. We're just here to help.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you've done a lot of helping between the podcast and you have Irwin. Infinity.
We have our own membership group as well.
Okay.
We're about 80 people right now. Okay. And we may add a lot of members at the Wealth Hacker Conference we have coming up.
Yeah, that specifically is interesting. So somehow you managed to get a hold of Grant Cardone's people and line him up for an event. Which, congratulations, that's a no easy task.
Oh, it's not.
so perseverance is one of your strong suits, I'm sure.
Yeah, anyone who's known me growing up with me, my clients should know who've been around me for a long time. Well, no, I am no one special. I was a mid-level student in university. I just wasn't motivated enough until I actually found something like real estate, and now, and I found my path, the best way I can help people. And also by helping people, I make more money. By having more money, I can invest in real estate, create more housing affordability. Now I'm doing stock options as well. And the whole plan is just to leave the world to be a better place than the one I joined. One of my plans is to leave at least a $5 million charitable foundation when I pass to continue my charity work, so it can continue on without me. And I get chirped a lot from my friends that they think 5 million is way too small. So, but if anyone knows me, I'm not a big goal person. I'm a big pushing person. I will continue to push no matter what it is.
Okay. Give me an example.
An example is, again, I'm not a big goal person. Like my real estate portfolio, I never really wrote goals I'll buy 3 properties this year. It's more about I'm trying to, again, I create a lot of value. I earn money. Once I have 50, 100K, I'll go buy a property immediately. I give myself 30 days to buy a property. I'm just pushing.
Okay,
right?
so you just save up the money, whatever you get through your business, then that you're rolling that into real estate every time.
Yep, I create that urgency myself. And I create a lot of urgency in myself to motivate myself to do more, be more, right? Like when I was young, when I was like, when I first started looking at investing as like a full-time gig, I was thinking, I want 100 properties, right? And then the week I had my daughter, my firstborn, I was lying in bed. I couldn't sleep. I was looking at my phone, and I Googled, how much does it cost to send a kid to university? And I found a Globe Mail article. Wow, really good search engine optimization. Found a Globe Mail article, and based on current inflation rates, it'll cost, I think, $70,000 of 4 years of tuition to send my daughter to university.
That doesn't include living.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And who just does 4 years anymore? Everyone does a lot more than that. And then my mind can just go nut bars at times. And so I'm thinking, I don't want to add to my retirement age. How do I make this money? I bought our house within the next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Both my kids have houses already.
You're holding it in trust for them. Is that how you're doing it?
Essentially, we basically earmarked them to support them through their education and probably a down payment on their first home as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How many properties are you at now on your real estate portfolio?
We're at 10 right now.
10 properties, and that includes the ones that are earmarked for your kids as well.
Correct.
Okay. And what's your bread and butter? What are you looking for in an investment?
It's changed so much. Everyone talks about the BRRRR.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I started, we weren't surrounded. There weren't podcasts. There weren't detailed books on investing. So to us, we were doing the BRRRR without ever being taught it, because prices were different then. The first house we bought, my girlfriend bought it, right? My ex-wife now, but she was the one that bought it. She bought it for in the low 150s.
Yeah, those days are gone, kind of.
It's not even far from that. It's not even that far from here.
Oh yeah, Burlington. Okay, well,
yikes. It's downtown Burlington. It's 5-minute walk to Brand Street. We paid 2-bedroom, 1 bath. What's the 2-bedroom, 1 bath go for today? Detached bungalow. In
Burlington,
downtown.
Like even near this area, like you could be anywhere from $600,000 to $900,000 for that.
Right. So it's understandable. I was mortgage free before 30.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist today. So again, to answer your question was, what was our thing? We'd usually buy stuff that needed work because my ex, their family, they had a contracting business.
Okay.
So we'd fix stuff up. That wasn't me though. I come from my dad's a doctor. I'd never done hard labor before. Not hard labor. I've never done sweat equity work before. Like I worked in grocery stores, I traded time for money and stuff like that. But here I was like chipping wall tile off the bathroom walls, get my hands all dirty, chipped up. I didn't have gloves. I didn't have tools because I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Should have been wearing eye protection probably too. Yeah. and so that's progressed all throughout. I've never been afraid of doing renovations because it's, we've done so many of them. I've seen so many of my ex's projects. I have a good idea of how to work with contractors. I know how to look at quality of work. I've been through hundreds and hundreds of home inspections, so not much phases me.
Well, you've probably seen a lot, and we probably should have said this at the get-go, but Irwin, you're a realtor, correct?
Yeah, I have my license.
Yeah. So are you... Like, is that your main occupation as being a realtor is number one, investor number two kind of thing?
It is my main active income. Okay. I haven't practiced in about 3 years. I have a team of 5 agents. Okay. Yeah. My job is more to coach them and to put out a lot of value, like things like the podcast, to bring clients to us, to attract clients to us.
So clients are coming in through knowing you, your brand, obviously, and all the things that you do and build around that. And then that's a kind of a function that comes from you drive a lot of business through that.
Yeah, I drive a lot of business, and I have 5 agents to support. Yeah. Yeah.
So in your years, you saw a lot of houses, did a lot of housing inspections with the housing inspector, because you as the realtor can't leave until the inspector's gone. So man, you learn a lot. That's a great way to learn some real estate. where's your comfort zone now for renovations? Are you doing like a full gut? Will you guys build anything new, or are you more just, take the bones that are there and make them look nice?
So our last project, it's got asbestos, really leaky foundation. Not much scares me really. I'm a numbers guy. Just like when I called the bird like the logic strategy, it was just a numbers thing. So not much scares me. I'm not interested in doing anything more active. Like I have a young family. Like I buy almost all my properties off MLS because I know how to value add.
Right. I think that would be my strategy up to this point too. It was always I knew how to value add through my renos, so I could pay market price on the buy and still come out. Yeah. I bought 2 properties in one summer and refinanced all my down payment out of the 2 over a 6 to 8 month period with like just a smart renovation. So it's definitely possible, but it gets harder and harder the more people understand what you understand. Like the more people that are willing to do that work, that know the model. Like for instance, duplex conversions, all the rage in Hamilton. I'm sure plenty of the people you see your agents working for are buying them. It's gotten so competitive now that the numbers are sort of working out that your after repair value is really just the cost of your purchase price plus your renovations. Are you seeing that in Hamilton?
Yields are being squeezed everywhere. Yeah. I hear from everyone. I mastermind with folks. They don't think they'll mind I share their names, like Susan White and Ryan Carr, who are very dominant in their markets of Barrie and Oshawa, and it's pretty common for folks to continue moving further away. I know lots of people who are picking up their families even and moving to Windsor, Ontario, to invest there.
Like Sav.
Yeah, like Savio. Yeah. The yields are getting thin. Real estate's changed a lot since we first started. We could cash flow $400 on a single family home
in Hamilton, right?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
that doesn't. Now the reverse is true. We're shoving a whole bunch of money into a property to make it a legal duplex to try to get $400 or $500 cash flow a month.
Yeah,
and then more recently is I have a single family that I used to rent to students. They were too rough with it. So then I turned it to an Airbnb, spent a lot of money renovating it, new kitchen, new bath, refinish the basement to take away the extra bedrooms, to change the layout, move the bathroom, significant renovations. And then I spent another $15,000 to furnish it for Airbnb. But it's suburbs though, right? So I'm not disparaging Airbnb or short-term rentals. It's the truth is that model didn't work. A whole house in the suburbs did not work on my market. For a 2-bedroom apartment, I only get a small premium over a 2-bedroom apartment.
Really?
Yeah.
So give me a neighborhood or a bigger intersection. You don't have to give me the address of the property, obviously.
Sure. Like I mentioned, a student rental, it's near Mohawk College.
So new Mohawk. Okay, near Mohawk. Okay. Yeah, so on the mountain, full house, and you're renting it as a full house. I could see that a full house wouldn't really get the value.
Exactly. It's gotten to the point where we forecast our September income to be less than that we would get for a single family.
Yikes. Is this a new experiment? I think I heard you talking. Yeah, I think I heard you talking about this on your podcast.
And a lot of people have been reaching out and saying, thank you for sharing. Like people have been asking me, because I don't know why they asked me. I only got the one. There's all these other people on social media who say they have lots of them. But people are asking me, how's it going? So I feel it's my duty to share. It's not going well. And again, I'm not disparaging anyone. It's this specific property in a suburb of a bedroom community is not working for me. And so I'm actually going to sell it in order to fund my stock trading account.
Just sell it, fund your stock trading. It makes sense that wouldn't be as effective. I've heard, I've talked to a lot of people in kind of this process of the podcast, and a lot of the guests. I've had some people who really focus on Airbnb, and it seems to be that there's a lot of attention on smaller units. Like bachelor apartments are actually fantastic for Airbnb, but not really so great for renting. So those I think are a real opportunity. If you can find something that has a few bachelors, maybe not so desirable on the market, but now you can buy that and rent those out on Airbnb and really drive way more than you would get versus a house.
And we shared exactly that. And one of my recent meetups was I shared my experience and my numbers, And then we had Zach Willems share his experience. So Zach is an investor, realtor in
Yeah, I know
Hamilton.
Zach.
In Hamilton. Oh, you know Zach. Okay.
Yeah.
And he shared, he's getting like no vacancy on his bachelor.
Is that he runs it as an Airbnb?
He has a multifamily, and one of the
Okay.
units is a bachelor.
Yeah.
And so he runs at Airbnb, and he's doing fantastic. He has almost no vacancy,
Yeah.
right?
And
that's
it
my
probably
point.
pulls a comparable number to what your house pulls as far.
It was getting pretty close. He's got
Yeah.
a fabulous location though, because he's on like
Yeah,
Lock
he's like-
Street, right?
Yeah, downtown kind of ish. Is he in your brokerage?
No, he's not. He's part of our Irwin.
Oh, I
group.
win. Okay, so yeah, I guess the next thing to do would just be kind of go back to some of the other types of real estate you're invested in. So you've done the Airbnb more recently. You've done some duplex conversions, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. And I have some student rentals as well.
You have some student rentals.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite so far?
Honestly, right now it's the stock stuff.
The stocks.
I'd love to show you just because
Yeah.
it's changing my life.
Doing the stocks.
Yeah, I've made $800 this month.
Enlighten me. I mean, stocks. I'm a hard sell, so sell me on stocks because I would love to know. I mean, and this isn't just about being one-sided about real estate. I genuinely am interested. So
like I said, I have 10 houses.
yeah,
I always believe that it's pretty common. I believe the most wealthy people did it through three things. Usually they have all of it. All
Yeah.
three things. They have a business, they have real estate, and they have public and private equities.
Yeah.
I have almost no equities, as in like stocks,
Yeah.
bonds, any of that. I have almost none of it. I have 10 houses.
Right.
I have a bit of, I could use some diversity, right?
Mhm.
Now with the stock stuff, are you familiar with the calls and puts at all?
yeah,
Okay, so excellent. So most people aren't, so I'm going to
yeah. Explain it because we got a lot of listeners that aren't. So
understand. So the most simple way to explain it is I'm being paid to provide insurance on blue chip stocks at prices I want them for anyways.
Mhm.
And these same stocks, often they pay dividends. And pretty much all the ones I do.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, Warren Buffett owns them,
okay,
owns significant shares in these companies. For example, Coca-Cola, right? It's public information. Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, owns almost $19 billion worth of Coca-Cola.
interesting.
I am okay with making the same bet that Warren Buffett is.
Yeah, so you're just kind of following him in the market, and that's actually the reason I'm not a fan of like mutual funds, because they're trying to be smarter than Warren Buffett, like make smarter trades and like flip stocks, hold it for 6 months and then flip to something else. When like even Warren Buffett says, don't do that. That's really hard to be good at. And even the guys that are most prominent in the industry have trouble. And this is actually the thing that kind of kept me from wanting to get into stocks too much, is because there was just too much needing to be very, very smart with it and very, very well educated with it. Or you just copy the guy that's doing everything right. And,
Exactly.
And, yeah, whatever they say, right?
Right. And the person who's teaching me, I have some real estate friends
Yeah.
who are doing this as well. So like my friend Omar Khan, he's been pushing me to do this for ages. And it's because he just wants to give back. It's meant so much to him. This same strategy that almost nobody knows of provided him down payments for his portfolio of 30 plus properties, 100 plus doors.
So you're saying you're selling a put option?
Yeah, I'm selling a naked put. I don't own the stock.
You don't own the stock. So you're just did you go to an institution and have them create it and sell it on your behalf?
No,
or-
I just have this app on my phone
Yeah.
using Interactive Brokers, which is
Okay.
it's not some fly-by-night app.
Okay.
They're an S&P 400 company. They're a billion-dollar company, publicly traded.
Yeah.
I believe they're pretty dominant in this space. But anyways,
Okay.
IBKS is the acronym. If anyone wants to go look it up on the app. Again, I'm not licensed to give advice. I'm not giving advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, no, I've never dove into this stuff. Like I know in theory because I went to business school,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
never dealt with any of it.
Same.
Yeah.
I went to business school. I'm like, when did they teach us this stuff?
Yeah.
Because this is gonna make me rich. So so going back to the story with Omar, he told me this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He's like, I make a lot of money. He showed me, and like, go read these 2 books and you'll learn how. So I read the 2 books, and then I did nothing with it. Life is busy.
Yeah.
I have kids. I have a business. I have my properties. I have the stuff I like to do for fun. I didn't find time for this. And then I ran into Omar back in April. We were just both happened to be at the same place having lunch together. And he's pushing me again. Like, you should be doing this. I'm like, yeah, I'll find time. Oh, I don't have time for it. He goes, you know Adriano, your electrician? I go, yeah, I know Adriano. He's the one actually that did the knob and tube wiring in my Airbnb house, the one I want to sell. I know Omar's a Hamilton investor too, so you'll run into him eventually if you haven't already.
Okay, no, I don't know if I have.
He says he's my electrician too. I taught him to trade, and he's told me Adriano made 6 figures in his first 12 months.
Wow.
This is my electrician. I know him. Like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's not a finance guru by any means. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do this too. So then I took it more seriously. Omar showed me some more things. I took his course, and I'm like, I've never been so clear on where my retirement is going to be, and it's coming faster than I ever thought possible and more free than ever thought.
Wow. You'll have to send me those book recommendations. I'm curious. I'll definitely give it a look.
It is absolutely wild. I seriously just opened my phone. There's generally you do it once in the morning, once in the afternoon. No more than half an hour a day is necessary.
So to simplify this, if we wanted to kind of explain it for somebody that's in grade 4, we would say that basically you're committing that if somebody should choose to want to exercise this option, that you will in fact buy a stock from them at a set price. Might say, call it $10.
Correct.
And say the market value of that stock's $5. You're on the hook to buy it for 10.
Correct.
You're betting that will never happen, and that's why you're issuing this put in the first place.
I'm not betting that's not going to happen, because I know it will eventually happen.
You know it will eventually drop, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like we're real estate investors.
Yeah.
Right. You and I both owned properties in 2017. The market went down.
Okay.
Average price in Hamilton went down by 10% from top to bottom.
Okay.
It went way worse if you're in the GTA in a detached property.
Yes.
Right. Did you actually lose any money?
No. See, my stuff's in London, so London just kept going.
Right.
But now I'm more focused on this area because this is where I live, and it's really difficult with the hour and a half drive all the time.
So everyone I know, no one sold during the down cycle of the last correction in Hamilton. So did anyone actually lose money?
No, they only lost if they sold, of course. Some people did sell, and that's a story of its own. So, but if you have the put option that you've issued out, you do have to buy it. Correct. Even if the market's 5, you're still paying 10. But at that point, you're looking at this saying, that's a stock I wanted to own anyway. Exactly. I'll buy more at $5 and I'll enjoy the profits that I made off of the option over this time. And is the payment do you get a regular payment on the option?
I get paid up front.
You get a full payment up front? Yeah. That's just good, for the life of the stock. Mine. Does it ever expire?
The option expires. No, the money's mine.
Yeah, the money's yours. Does the option ever expire? Like, how long do they have to exercise that put?
So you choose when you're deciding what option you want to sell. You pick a date.
Okay.
Yeah,
so and you get paid accordingly.
You get paid accordingly because the further out it is, the more likelihood that you will have to
buy
the stock. So then they pay you a higher premium.
Yeah. Man, we could go down a rabbit hole here. I'm not sure how many more questions I'm going to ask.
But some simple things, right? What does the smart money do in a downturn if you are bullish on the overall market? Myself, I'm not advising anyone to do anything. Yeah. I bought 2 houses in 2017 when things were on the way down because I knew it was going to go back.
I'm trying to think of the Warren Buffett quote, but I mean that's where like all the money is made, or the bulk of the money is made when times are bad, right? Be greedy when everybody else is scared, and then be conservative. I forget his exact wording. When everyone else is being greedy, right? So when the market's going crazy, that's when he's kind of waiting for it all to crumble and then come back around. Yes, certainly the real estate market is a yo-yo on an escalator. Good terminology I was told once. It's going up and down as it goes up. So there's lots of opportunity in there to do it there too. But I don't think you really have options against your home. You just got to kind of watch it and buy low if you can. Right. To me, I'm not trying to time the market per se. I'm just trying to buy under market. Find a deal, find something I can add value to that other people don't understand. You have to have an angle. You can't just go out and buy a house on the market unless you have a very, very hands-off strategy where you're not looking to aggressively grow and you're okay with just shoveling money in and letting the market do its thing, which it obviously will.
I just study the market. It's just my opinion. My feeling is, well, I think people know what my feeling is if I'm buying 2 properties in the middle of a downturn.
Yeah. Oh, to me, I'm with you, man. Like I believe in Ontario's market. I really do. And it's kind of like your Coca-Cola example. Like, there are so many markets that I wouldn't invest in outside of Ontario, in the US, but in this specific area, because of our economic policies, because of our immigration policies and what's happening in Ontario, it's like there just aren't enough houses. So being one of the people that owns them, is probably not a bad thing.
Right. Like where we are right now in Burlington, there's no new development for 2 years.
Yeah, well, they're really starting to push now. So, I mean, Burlington doesn't want it, right? A lot of the people here don't want it, but the province mandated it, right? So it's happening. We've got high rises going up downtown.
Right.
Several now.
My business is houses, though.
Yeah.
I believe that's yours business as well.
Yeah.
They're not building any more of those.
I'm not building any high rises. And in terms of houses, that's going to become really rare. Like now we're going to see more semis, a lot less single detached properties. One thing I noticed over the last several years is lot sizes just get smaller and smaller. Every new subdivision you see, like go back 40, 50 years and look at subdivisions, how big their lots were. Now people are like, you can practically touch the house next to you. That's a standard thing.
Yeah. What is it? 1 meter? I think 1 meter is the standard setback.
Yeah. 0.9 meters in London anyway. I mean, I think Hamilton has a fairly similar, and then if you go up 2 stories, your second story has to step in. You can get right into the building code and bylaws of it all, but it's interesting stuff there. So what is next for you? I know you're focused on stocks. I did want to ask you about kind of your personal organization and what you're trying to do next. So why don't you just start with what's the main plan? You're working on Iowa and you've got Grant coming to town, then what?
Got a little bit on the go.
Yeah.
So I just want to finish with where I was going with. I was buying when the market was going down.
Sure. Okay. Go ahead.
So again, just simply look at history. I am prepared for myself for when things go bad. Right. Good example when I was talking about back in 2007 when the financial crisis happened.
Yeah.
Bank of America went at $4. Right. What if you bought it at $4?
There were a lot of things like GE was way down. Apple was way down.
And that's what Buffett teaches, right?
Yeah. Just wait for those moments. Buy those blue chip stocks so those companies have enough liquidity they can survive the downturn. They have enough diversity that they can survive the downturn and then reap the benefits. Yeah,
And guess who owns a lot of Bank of America?
Buffett.
$25 billion.
Yeah. Well, he made smart moves. I remember I didn't have my stock account and Apple was $76 a share. And this is way before they did their 6-way split. And I think they've done another one since then. This was back in like 2008. And I'm like, okay, I need to get set up for an E-Trade account. So I sent away. It was a 2-week wait. It went up to $86. I'm like, damn, I missed the boat. Didn't buy it. Within like 3 years, it was at $400 a share. And I've told that story a few times as like one of the bonehead moves I did, but hindsight's 2020. For me, I think that the rule that should prevail here is that you invest what makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
So if you read the book and it makes sense, then rock on. Right. If it doesn't, then don't act. Right. So for me, for some reason, real estate just always made sense. And I'm assuming for you, it did too, because you became a realtor. You're selling it to your clients, and obviously you've been through 1 million home inspections.
Right. It made more sense when I was put in a room with like hundreds of real estate investors. I was like, wow, if they can do it, I can too.
Right.
I think that helps so much.
Oh yeah.
Like for example, like the 6-minute mile or the 4-minute mile with Roger Bannister.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember, it took how long?
Yeah.
For someone to break it, and then as soon as he broke it, someone else broke it the next week.
Yeah, because of belief, right?
Yeah, because you just believe. Right.
That's why I'm big on the networking, big on the meetups.
Oh yeah.
And I love the podcast for that because it gets guys like you and I in a room together where we can share ideas where we might not have otherwise. But we do a little meetup, just at a local brewery here, and just get people together, talk real estate ideas, and you walk away with an idea. You're gonna get an idea. He did that. He did 6 this year. Well, he can do
it's
6.
Inspiring.
Yeah,
it's inspiring. And then you asked me what I'm up to.
Yeah.
So I'm listing my Airbnb next week.
Yeah.
It's already furnished.
So you staged it. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I staged it. I'll send my stager through to give some final touches. But yeah, I'm going to do that to increase funding to my account. Again, I'm just sharing what I'm doing, not advising anyone what to do. I've already collected over $800 cash in 1 month off a $10,000 bankroll. I hope to increase my bankroll significantly to get more cash.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier, there's 3 pillars to getting wealthy, and those are the 3 pillars that we're covering at the Wealth Hacker Conference. I've built a pretty good business. I've built a multi-million-dollar business just with my real estate, helping people buy property. I've got a pretty good portfolio of real estate, and I'm doing stocks. But I'm I'm not always the best to teach all these things. So for example, my mentors are teaching how to build a business. So Tom and Nikradza, they literally from the floor of their garage started Rockstar Real Estate, which is now an 8-figure company.
Right.
And just recently, for the 4th time in a row, they've been named Profit 500. So meaning among private companies in Canada, they are among the 500 fastest growing.
Okay.
And then we have my Omar, who's teaching me to do stock options. One of the richest people I know. He has a lifestyle that I want.
Okay.
And that he only works half an hour a day. His real estate investing is actually what takes up the most of his time.
Yeah.
So I would like some of that because he's a very wealthy individual. And it's funny enough, his nickname is the Communist.
Oh, yeah?
Because he's so giving. He wants to pay more tax. He wants to give more to charity. And he wants to change the world. And this is his gift. And he wants to bring it to everyone. And when we ran into each other at lunch, when he explained to me, like, you can teach Adriano this, my electrician. We got to teach everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing November 9th, along with a whole boatload of real estate.
Yeah. No, hey, that's great. Like, and I've been very one-dimensional with it, so I'm totally open to kind of seeing that side of things too.
Yeah. When we're done here, I'd be happy to show you.
Yeah. Well, do you mind sharing the books that you would recommend for people?
Oh yeah. I actually thought I should save you the trouble because everyone's been asking me and DMing the crap out of me. What are these 2 books? Money for Nothing by Derek Foster.
Okay.
He's from Ottawa and he's retired. He retired at 33 or 34 years old.
Okay.
I don't know how accurate it is, but he says he's the youngest person to retire in Canada. The difference though is that he lives not judging. He lives a modest lifestyle. Yeah. He drives. He even says his vehicles are like 10 years old. They're not. They're nothing fancy. He lives in a basic home. 7 kids. He lives off of his dividends, though. I believe that's most accurate. He taught to write. He taught to sell puts in order so you could get the stock at a cheaper price and then collect dividends. Versus this strategy is we are turning over our money regularly. We sell the put so we get that money.
Yeah.
And then 7 or 8 times out of 10, the option expires worthless. Then we just do it again.
What time frame are you doing?
It really depends on the individual. As I am networking with other stock option investors, they all have various strategies. And it's really largely based on what they feel for the market.
Yeah.
Like if you have like a lot of earnings coming up, you may want to exit your positions before they come out. Right. That's no different than real estate. There's like, if I know something bad's going to happen or something, like for example, we have the CMHC, Trudeau's pouring a whole bunch of money into the market between now and November, right? So so I tell my clients, good time to sell. You probably want to buy before all this stuff hits, right? Yeah. As an example, right? That is bit of time in the market on a very micro scale. So same idea you can do with this. I'm generally around 3 to 5 weeks.
Oh, that's it. So you're very short-term time frames.
It's a market, right? There actually isn't a big market for beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so again, 6 or 7, 8 times out of 10, I just keep the money and then do it again. Go collect another one. And then,
you're doing it inside like a TFSA or a registered account?
You actually can't write naked puts in TFSA or RSP. So I'm doing this in personal. Just personal. Okay. And then my wife tells me not to talk about accounting. So talk to your own accountant on the handling of stock option income.
You know what? I talk about a lot of this stuff on here, and I never give the don't do what I do. I probably do indirectly, but just because it works for one person doesn't make it work for another, right? Everything is person specific. So we'll always share what we do, but it doesn't mean it works for, person listening or watching, what have you. So
I get this all the time because I've been talking about this nonstop.
Yeah.
Because I used to work in risk management at a big software company, and we sold $1 million software to big banks and big software and insurance companies. So those friends of mine, like, oh, you could lose lots of money in stock options, right? Yeah. And so I explained to them, it's TD Bank. I'm not recommending anybody. Yeah. It's Enbridge. It's Bank of America, Coca-Cola. If I go broke, the world broke.
Yeah. And then you got bigger problems.
You have bigger problems. You have way bigger problems.
I say that with real estate. One of the things I always love with it is, no matter what happens in the market, you've got a physical building that I can go out and touch. And, that's kind of cool. And if I don't have that anymore, then we're all in trouble.
Yeah. When would people not need a place to live anymore?
Exactly. That's the logical thing, right? That just like slam dunk made sense to me, is just like people will always need a place to live.
Right.
As long as people want to be in that area. But you know, even dying cities in the US, if there's still houses that are you know, closed in, you'll find a squatter in there. You know, everyone needs a place to live. So,
but those cities, like Cleveland, Ohio, for example, they shrink like something like 4% a year. What are we doing in the Golden Horseshoe?
Oh, it's going crazy. Yeah, the US market, you know, if I lived down there, I would probably be a flipper. I don't know I'd be in for the long haul unless it was in like Manhattan or Miami or some place where I thought that there was a reason for it to be continuously an awesome place to be. Like for Miami, it makes sense. It's a huge shipping hub for both illegal and legal things. And there'll be a demand for that real estate. You know, anything on the water obviously has its demand that, you know, it's scarce, right? And in the GTA, and then where we are in Ontario in general, land is scarce, but specifically where we are because of the green belt, because of the lake, and the influx of people that all want to be so close to the border. It's like, man, like there's such a reason here.
Like where we live, we're right, our south of the border is the world's largest economy. We're so lucky.
Yeah, where we are, I think we take it for granted. Like where we sit right now, we're about an hour from the closest border to get into Buffalo. And yeah, we have access to that market. We're on a major shipping route from there. I consider myself lucky to have the opportunity to invest here, to know about it. I know there are guys out, you know, investing out east and all that, but you know, for me, that never really made me feel comfortable. I don't know about you. Like
I'm controlling.
You're controlling,
yeah, which is part of my problem.
Yeah. Oh, same. Yeah, I manage my own properties from a distance, and I have people that work for me, and I have tried managers, but I didn't like what they were doing. I felt like they weren't showing care to my assets like I would, which I think is, I don't know how you escape that. If you've got a secret, you tell me. But actually, funny enough that you came over today. I remember you talking about you had a skunk under your deck.
Yeah. Not that long ago.
Skunk in my house, in one of my rental houses. Yeah, it crawled under the crawl space in the addition, and we just found the hole yesterday. So I've got a guy going in there to throw ammonia rags and put a light. But what are the odds? The day we're getting together, I find this out.
And then the funny part of it is, if it was my rental, I would call somebody.
I did call somebody, yeah.
This is my home. I dealt with it myself.
Yeah, you're just that stubborn, huh?
Very stubborn.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, you know what? Any investment property, I pay for it, but this is my home. We handle things ourselves.
Yeah, that's why my rentals, a lot of them look a lot nicer than my home.
Fair enough. Like, I'm a pretty simple guy myself. Like, I don't need anything special. Like, I always kind of had this like dream. I wanted to have like a little studio basement, like that I could soundproof so I could play my drums and not hurt the dog's ears and you know, have band practice. But other than that, like I don't need a lot of space. I don't need to collect things. My wife, on the other hand, likes to kind of buy things and accumulate things. So we manage that.
Right. Wait till I show you the stock stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested. When I was wondering if you could step back for me here and tell me a little bit about your personal organization, because it's not that many people that get to the accomplishment of having a high performing real estate team business, having a training and coaching business with members that can bring in Grant Cardone, and also be an investor. You've got 10 properties. You've got a lot on the go.
I have a charity too.
And the charity. And I'm probably a million things that we're leaving out. How do you organize your life, and what do you find? What kind of systems have you implemented in your life that have allowed you to achieve these type of results?
I married smart.
Married smart. Okay, I'll write that down.
My wife is amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny because she's more popular than I am, I feel. Okay. She gets invited to more speaking events than I do. If anyone doesn't know who she is, she's Cherry Chan. She's an accountant. I remember one day she stormed into my office and said, "You should appreciate me more." And I go, "Don't I already?" She's like, and she was like, "You know, your accounting bill would be about $10,000 a year." And like, I don't got it.
The benefits.
And she's supported me through this journey the whole way. Like having worked with investors, I knew pretty soon if a couple would work out or not. If the couple like if a couple came together, husband, wife, partners, whatever, if one was usually full in, and the other partner had to be at least neutral.
Right.
If the partner was negative on it, this wasn't going to work.
On an investment.
On investing property, not on investing in general.
Yeah.
Right. That's a general statement.
Yep.
So that's in versus, and actually there was an article about it just recently. Someone shared it. But if one person's full send and the other person is full send, you're going to accomplish way more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I definitely get that. So where I'm at, so I'm fortunate that my wife, she grew up in real estate. Like her mom, Carmen, is very, very inspiring and developer, real estate investor.
Yeah, she's a superstar.
Yeah, superstar, TV show host. And what happened is, it kind of became such a household conversation. It almost got like boring. Like, oh, that sounds like work. And she works in the business, right? She works in Pro Funds Mortgages and Valor Capital. Plus, she's on the show as well. Jordan co-hosts. And so to her, going to networking, sometimes it's like, well, that kind of just seems like extending my work, right? Because she does that for work. And I get where she's coming from, but for me, it's all about, growth. I genuinely enjoy that process. So she's fully supportive of my real estate investing. She's kind of just like, yeah, you go ahead. But she has her own investments too. She does, joint ventures with her mom and this and that. And, it's I'm fortunate for that, right? Like it just kind of worked out really nicely. And I was actually shocked when I first spoke with Jordan to find out that her mom was a real estate investor, because she's like, well, what do you want to do with your life? I'm like, I don't really know, but I think I want to invest in real estate. I don't know how to do that. She's like, well, you should talk to my mom. And that was about 9.5 years ago.
Yeah, she does pretty well.
Yeah, she's definitely someone to watch. So I think that she was episode 9 or 10, if anyone wants to go back and listen to Carmen talk. But definitely somebody who's been inspiring to me. Did you have mentors other than your wife in this process?
Her father was the one that was really pushing us both to do more real estate. Like my dad does well. He's a family doctor. But I was like, wow. Business wasn't really a big part of our lives. My grandpa's business did really well to send all his kids to mostly to Canada to go to school and stuff like that. But then with outsourcing to China, that business was lost. So there was no real business investing in our family that was ever taught to me. So then comes along my girlfriend from university, her dad, and he was pushing us. So it's sort of like rich dad, poor dad.
Okay.
Because they lived a very good life from running business, and then with their savings, they're buying real estate, and that was a major catalyst for me. Okay. So I thank them forever.
So your first wife, that kind of was the kick, or this?
That was the kick, and the huge kick though was like the financial crisis. Our real estate's working really well, right? I'm a pragmatist. I'm looking for path of least resistance, no different than any other person. Path of least resistance to making a lot of money, and that's what wealth hacking is. The path of least resistance to getting you to your goal. Right. For many of us, it's for wealth, right?
Yeah, and I think everybody defines wealth a little bit differently. But if you're on the rich dad, poor dad side of things, it's wealth is a time thing. How long can you go if you just stopped working? That to me really is wealth, right? Yeah. So technically you could be wealthy if you had 2 rental properties and lived in your van.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not telling people not everyone has to go 10x.
Yeah.
But I think you should do at least what you're capable of.
Sure.
Like you're capable of paying off your mortgage. Do you know how much further ahead you are? There's actually an article that just came out on a study in Australia. I think it was Melbourne. They have redefined classes of who's rich. At the top, landlords.
Yeah.
Step down, people who are mortgage free. Okay. Step down from that, people who own their own homes.
Yeah.
Below that, who do you think? Tenants.
Tenants. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like, so it's funny you say, you're paying off your houses, and I know that's a strategy a lot of people have. If I talk to Carmen, it's like the exact opposite advice. What are you doing paying it off? Refinance that, pull it out, and do it on another one. So there's that comfort thing, right? Because everyone has their own comfort. Like how much do you want to borrow on your personal home, or do you not want to have anything on your personal home? I know some people that are just like that. Like, nothing goes on my house, but anything else is fair game.
But here's the other side of it. If you're capable of a lot and you're a good person, Like, for example, like, could you imagine like, I'm a huge superhero fan. I love Spider-Man, Superman. Spider-Man always confused me because he actually has a conflict. He doesn't always want to be a superhero.
Okay.
And so take Superman, the Boy Scout, because I was a Boy Scout. Take Superman, for example. All that ability. Could you imagine if he didn't help people?
Yeah.
Now make it make it real now. Make it reality. Like, you're a talented individual and you're a good person, right? If you're a good person and you love to give to charity, I want you to be super wealthy, right? Because I know a lot of people who are really good people, and what's just been missing is they didn't know how to get wealthy.
Yeah.
And like when I look at myself, again, I'm no one special. I was a mid-level student. I graduated in the middle of my class in university. I'm just a bit more motivated than most, is what I find. Mm-hmm. So my motivation is I want to leave behind at least $5 million for my charity as a foundation. And then with my newfound friends, Omar and Matthew, who are doing the stock option stuff, I'm pretty sure they can get me 10% of my money. Yeah. Right. So my charity will then have a $500,000 operating budget every year.
Okay.
To help families in Hamilton. Right.
That's awesome.
And so what we do is we feed people, we clothe people, and our instructions to the public and Catholic school boards is give us your worst. Who needs this the most? And then I saw a post on social media. I spend way too much time on social media. Someone has a charity in Kitchener. Their target customer is what they do is they put together care packages. So basically they take a kid's backpack and they stuff it with toys, clothes, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And who they're giving it to is kids who are going to foster homes on Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Because and I was just, because I swear when I get excited, I'm like, F-bomb, F-bomb, F-bomb. We need to do more of this. Because I can't imagine a worse Christmas than that. Because these kids get taken out of their homes, often without a chance to pack a bag, over Christmas. Yeah. So I'm like, mother.
Yeah, you got to do something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I need to do something because I'm capable of it. Mm-hmm. I already have a registered charity. I just need a hell of a lot more money to go help these kids in all different cities.
That's a great motivating factor. You know,
it's crazy.
The goal to help more people is a huge one.
And it's like, I love the Spider-Man quote. Way too superhero crazy.
That's all right.
When Spider-Man, the more recent Spider-Man, when he met Iron Man for the first time, holy geeking out. he was saying, Iron Man asked him, why do you do this? He says, because bad things happen to people and there's something I can do about it. And if I don't do anything about it, then that's my fault. Mm-hmm. So I am capable. So if these kids don't get help, eating on Christmas, eating on Thanksgiving, having toys for Christmas, that's on me.
Interesting perspective.
And that stuff pisses me off like crazy. Anyone who's a parent and you think about kids who can't eat, that just drives me.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm like kind of terrified to have kids for how much it would like control the way I think about so many things, right? Like even just looking at the world today and like some of the things like I can spot that are not right. Mm-hmm. And just the thought of deciding whether I even want to bring a kid into that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the podcast and the meetups and all the stuff I do to try and, help as well. I think part of me wanted to, like, I understood there was a huge benefit to building a brand, but a big part of me wanted to kind of spread that wealth of knowledge because I grew up in a relatively poor family. We never had much. Mm-hmm. And my mom came from, broken, war-torn family, came to Canada. Mm-hmm. And, my dad never had much either. So it was just like, man, there's too many people out there struggling, living unhappy.
Oh yeah.
And,
there's even more than you think. Like if you monitor social media, they're just putting up the good stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know about the financial heartache.
Well, yeah. And I've seen so much of it. I think just, having grown up into it, like just having to hear the fights at the dining room table. I remember my parents used to argue about money occasionally, and I would walk in on it and I'm like, man, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. And, I think that people shouldn't have to suffer through that. No. Which is why I'm so big on helping people to see why real estate is a smart thing to do early and just keep doing.
We're also like when you have kids.
Yeah.
Man, I was talking to a York University professor. His kid wants to go to dentistry school. Yeah. Not just any dentistry school. He wants to go to UBC in the most expensive city in Canada. Yeah. And what does it cost? I think it was like $45,000 a year for a 4-year program.
Yeah.
If you're, and you know, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is just how I feel. If it's my kid's dream to be a dentist, I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that makes sense. But I'm surprised though, like you being a businessman, you know, you're an entrepreneur and an investor. I went to business school. I'm not so sure I would encourage my kids to go to school.
It depends what. And again, I don't want to define for my kids what they should be.
Okay.
Like for example, I have a cousin who's a musician.
Okay.
And school was not well set up for an artist. Right? You had to do English, you had to do math, you had to do science. Right? He's a musician.
Yeah.
Right? He's a brilliant musician. Why? So for that, if that's my kid, no, I won't.
Right.
It's their choice. Right? But if that kid wants to be a veterinarian, that's not easy to get into. And then you probably have to go outside the country to do so.
Yeah.
And if you know what we charge international students to here to go to school, then you're going to have to pay the same thing for them to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? If that's my kid's dream. And even more simply, I trained with a friend of mine who got a full ride scholarship, Division I NCAA, to be a rower. Right? Rowing, you know, on a boat. And then Olympic trials came up. She was invited. She couldn't afford it. She couldn't afford to leave school because the school, her full ride would end if she left.
Okay.
So for money reasons, she couldn't leave. And then she went on to see her teammates that she was better than go on to the Olympics.
That'll be frustrating.
So I'm throwing MF bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
And I love this country so much. If my kid has the opportunity to represent this country, it's going to happen. And it's not decision will not come down to money.
Yeah. And I'm right with you there. That's why for me, when I think about this more, and I don't know the right way because I'm not a parent yet, and you've obviously got that unique perspective, but just the idea of teaching my son or daughter financial responsibility young, like teaching them how to be an entrepreneur and encouraging that at a young age and showing it's okay to make mistakes on small stuff so that you learn and you know, then you learn that lesson for the next one because I made mistakes too. I wish that I would have been encouraged to do that when I was young. And I think that, you know, then you put them in a position, you say, well, you know, that's your dream. We want to make sure that no matter what happens, we'll work together, that you can always do that. You know, you'll be empowered to do that. So, it's funny. Yeah, we both have a similar idea there, maybe just a different execution on it. But,
well, this is the weird part about being successful and wealthy. Is how do you not raise spoiled children? And that's funny because that's a popular discussion among my friends.
Also a concern of mine, right? Like my parents didn't pay for my university. They didn't do any of that, but it was kind of a gift because at 18, I had a panic attack when I was left at school the first day. I went into debt, you know, to pay for my first year's tuition. And I truly felt like an adult at 18 years old, whereas a lot of people don't get that until they're 30. You know what I mean? Like it just depends on when is the cord cut. You know, how long do they have a safety net? Right? So not having a safety net empowered me to really start thinking seriously, and it took me a few years, but not having that helped. So that is hard. How are you going to do that with your kids?
I'm a student, so I'm a forever student. I never believe I know everything. I actually found an article from 2015. There was a financial advisor who actually specializes in young people from 15 to 25. She works for rich families. Really, that's not her client, but that's who rich families hire her to work on their kids. And her suggestion was to make the child pay for everything for the first year. Okay. Right. And then other model, like I actually ask a lot of people, I ask a lot of successful people like Tahani, for example. I think you know Tahani. Like, how do you not raise spoiled kids? But she's, you know, baller. She's a baller. And her kids are awesome. Yeah. They're all in their, I think one just turned 30. Great kids, right? How'd you do that? Right? And her thing was, you always bring the kids to everything. So they get exposed to things. Bring them to business meetings. You know, teach them to shake hands, look at people in the eye, and then revisit with them, like, what were we talking about? Right? Yeah. Like, teach kids negotiation, communications. Like, it seems like it's still been lost, like basic communication. How many people haven't read When Friends Influence People? Have your kid read that, right? How do you talk to people?
I think they will learn if you do that, what you said, they're going to learn everything about how you do things, right? They're going to learn how you're frugal when you're frugal. They're going to learn how, how to win a deal, how to make a deal, and how exciting that can be. I'm sure you've had lots of F-bombs, good F-bombs when you've made a good deal. So
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not saying always negative. I'm grateful every day for my life.
Yeah.
I also take my kids when we so our thing is we always have to meet our tenants on signing of leases. Okay. And often I'll bring my kids.
All right.
Because often they have kids. I want them to know that we're real, and also this learning experience for my kids. Yeah. And then I also explain to them they pay us money because they can't afford a home. What would you rather do when you're older?
It's good contrast. It's really good contrast.
And same with charity.
Yeah.
Like people, like I have a friend of mine, my client came to our charity, brought her 20-something-year-old kid. And this was pretty common, was a lot of kids were bawling when they did our charity work because we used to deliver to people's homes. I remember we asked for the worst of the worst. We asked for it.
Oh, okay. So you get to see it all.
Yeah, we get to see it all. And then, like, I remember, like, young men were bawling because they'd never seen this before. They'd never seen the other side of life. My friend Roger, his son, who was, it was funny, it was Christmas. His son asked for, he was around 12 at the time. He asked for a PlayStation. He asked for those Beats headphones and I think a new phone, right? So we're talking about, like, I don't know, $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that's not a small order.
Yeah. And Roger came from nothing. And then they went to someone's home. They saw it was a dirty, small home. No, all the toys were broken and well worn. And when Josh got back to the car, bawling, told his dad, "I don't want anything. Give it all to them."
Wow.
Right.
That's incredible.
This is what I enjoy. Like I'm a simple guy like yourself. I don't drive a fancy car. We don't renovate our home. All our money goes elsewhere, and I'm fine. But what gets me excited is stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. Helping people.
That's great.
Yeah. And like helping people be wealthy, because it's not about money. It's about freedom. Right. Like I have a client who is a mechanic, and people don't always they think that's a good job. Yeah, it is a good job. But think of how a mechanic lives, how they work. They're in an auto shop. There's no heating. There's no air conditioning. They're spraying and breathing in what chemicals? Yeah. And it's also they're quite physically demanding as well. Right? And he was able to retire.
Yeah, that's actually my friend, a very good friend, used to be a mechanic and retired himself through real estate investing. Yeah. Yeah, so I know the stories. It was his daughter that motivated him, because he would come home. He would have to leave so early, wouldn't see her in the morning, and then we would come home so late, wouldn't see her at night because she's already in bed. Right. And he's like, enough of this. Right. And he retired himself from the job. It's funny when people get angry about something, what they can do.
Right. This isn't about greed.
Yeah.
This is about freedom. His life is short. Yep. Right. Does anyone really want to miss those years with their kids?
I couldn't agree more. To me, freedom is the word. Like nothing, there's no price tag on that.
Right. And when I'm telling you, my friends, half an hour a day on their phone, making 6 figures a year. Yeah. How you not jump up and, okay, I'll learn more. I'll take a course.
Yeah. You learn a little bit about it, and you can obviously make some educated decisions around that. Yeah. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit, because I know we didn't really get too deep into the real estate. So more real estate wisdom.
Sure, go ahead.
What is one thing, because you're obviously very experienced, one thing that you would recommend to investors, maybe guys that are newer or they're intermediate investors and want to take it to the next level? What would you suggest to them?
Newer, just like you from your own experience, challenges with property management. I would never invest in a city without ideally 2-3 really good property managers. Okay. I've been through about 5 myself, and it's a pain in the you know what. Yeah. Because again, this is about freedom. This isn't about being a landlord.
Would you recommend to people that they self-manage for a time before they hire a property manager?
It's never a bad idea to at least do the job yourself, because you're just so much more educated when you set demands on your own property manager.
Yeah. I feel that way too. Like I've pretty much everything I've hired out, I've done, or I've been witness to having done, so that I understood it first. Right. and property management, I kind of made that mistake with my student rentals. So I hired property manager right away. And then it ended up actually kind of biting me because I felt kind of incapable when I took over. So I wish I'd done that in reverse, but I was acquiring so quickly. Right. I kind of put myself in a little bit of a pickle.
Then there's also, I don't want someone to not invest because they don't want to be a property manager. Because a lot of our clientele, they have kids, they live an hour away, they have jobs. So that's why our business has always been make it as easy as possible for them. Here's my property manager. He's an ex-policeman. He's everything that you expect.
So you've laid the groundwork for people.
Everything. Like that's our business, is we try and make it as easy as possible for our clients. Here's our contractor. You need a plumber? Here's our plumber. You need a handyman? Here's our handyman. Because in this where we are today, these guys are all in short supply.
Oh yeah.
My property manager is doing referral only from like 3 agents.
Yeah. And then you've got Manny as well working for you, right? Yeah. That he's just for you guys pretty much. He's
but we don't share him anywhere else too.
Yeah, because he's too busy, right?
People DM me off social media like, who's your contractor? Like, I can't share it with you because his priority is for our clients.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same spot. Like my guy is just too busy doing everything for me.
Exactly. So then how do you scale?
Yeah. Right? Well, that is, see, that to me is where systems come in, right? So having a property manager, sure. But for me, like you, bit of a control freak. I want things done my way. Everything from my bookkeeping, my property management, how people are talking to my tenants, a procedure and policy for everything. And I'm realizing that is the mistake that I've made to this date. I haven't written my procedures down, right? Like so I'd rather hire somebody and train them than I would hire somebody who has their own company for me. But not everyone's like me. Like that's just kind of me from my experience, what I've gone through, some of the burns I've had kind of makes me feel that way.
Yeah, there's no right way to do it. Because, like, for example, I have friends with like Mike and Lou Wyrot, they're the ones building the Connolly, right?
Okay.
They don't have any employees.
Okay, that's,
you know what I mean?
That's not a bad thing either.
Right? They do lots of projects.
Yeah.
But I'm friends with like people like Ryan Carr, who has like 3 crews.
Yeah.
Right? There's many ways to do this business. Like he has 3 crews, as in like he can have 3 rental projects doing all the same time, and they're all his employees.
He's an impressive guy. I've spoken with him one time. I met him, but it seems like he's doing a million things and still quite young. Yeah, smart guy for sure.
I don't know really what the advice is because I think it's really a case by case basis. But I'm buying, you're buying. We're not dummies.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go. You just got to do it. You know what I appreciate? You didn't say get educated, which is like 98% of people's response when I ask that question. It is an important answer. Don't get me wrong, but I like that you gave a tangible response there. So have a groundwork, basically.
The thing about educated is, okay, brand new investor, go get educated. Here, I can filter it down real fast for you.
Yeah.
There's good teams in these cities that are within an hour drive from you.
Yeah. Like,
do you really need to know? Do you need to know about Durham region? Right?
No.
Do you care about Aurelia?
No. Right? I think that the education means something different though for everyone, right? Like for me, I think I needed to know what went into the different jobs, so I knew when I was getting quotes what was ridiculous and what was like, okay, that makes sense. So even your meetup, like the amount of knowledge somebody could glean just from talking to a few other investors, that's education right there.
Right. So the way that we work is we're licensed real estate professionals, so we're realtors. We get paid on the deal, right? Yeah. And our clients, and once they're in our world, your family, right? We'll review the contract. We'll review the contract. We'll review your quotes for you, along with you, right? And our contractors know this. They will behave appropriately based on that. And also they hear it from us when things aren't right. Right?
That's beautiful.
So that's why I believe go find a team. Go find a team go find a team that you align with ethically, morally, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Just do what they do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Because I look at myself, like get educated. Oh man, I spent so much time looking at deals that I never would do. Yeah. Right? Versus having someone just hand it to you on a platter. You know what? Hamilton, we do a lot of basement suites. Do you know why? Because they return the most. Do you really need to educate yourself on on triplex conversions.
No. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, my wife's an accountant. She reviews probably somewhere over 200 real estate investors' returns. We know where the returns are.
Oh, that's good. I agree. Having the teams and the groundwork in place can save a lot on some of the education or cut down the time needed, right? Just having good teams. And you're right. If you have, that's what I love about community. If you have contractors that are part of community, it's a small world, and news travels fast, right? Everyone knows your pricing before you even, even do it. Like, I know the guys that kind of run in my circles, what they're going to charge for a basement conversion. And I actually love that I know that. So I don't need to worry. I can kind of plan accordingly because I know kind of the numbers floating around. Really helpful. Okay. So I appreciate that answer. Is there something you would say to people absolutely do not do?
I'm not a black and white person, so I don't know if there's anything, because someone's probably doing something I would be against. Again, this is about freedom, for example. I was talking to someone this week. They invest 7 hours away. That's I wouldn't recommend that to anybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
7 hours each way.
I had Brock Rogerson on the show. He invests in St. John, New Brunswick, and lives in San Diego. Couldn't be further apart.
I don't think it's necessary.
It's not necessary. He has his angle. He's a machine, though. I mean, it fits his personality. I think other people wouldn't be so.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that can work, like Gary Vee, for example, or Elon Musk. They can operate with almost no sleep. Right? I'm not going to tell them not to do that. Right. It also cost Elon Musk 3 marriages. I'm not going to tell. Still, again, it's not my place to tell you not to do that. Right.
That makes sense.
But do something. Like, I've failed so many times, and so many people won't start because they're afraid of failing. Right? I've shared my Airbnb failed, my marriage failed, right? But it all led to something better.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make mistakes, preferably within the confines of a community, of a team that will support you,
pick you up. Yeah, you're gonna need it. I've told the stories many times on this show of my mistakes, and if I didn't have people like Carmen around me or another mentor of mine around me, it would have probably got me out of the game. So you got to be around people that'll support you when it happens, and hopefully mitigate the mistakes so that it doesn't destroy you. It just stings a bit, and then you still learn, but you can stay in the game.
Right. Actually, there's one thing I don't think enough people do: reference checks. My goodness, there's so many people like who are doing talks, who are like they're charismatic people. They give talks at places, and they people are impressed by them. Don't even do reference checks on them before they do business with them.
I think we're talking about somebody. We're not gonna give names, but okay. No, I'm with you there. I agree. Check on people, and especially tenants. I even check on the landlord that they put down. I look up and find out if that landlord actually owned that property. Because if you have a suspicion, double check.
I've done that before. I've called them and asked about the apartment they have for rent. Just to verify they actually are a landlord. One time it was, actually, that's a good story. One time they're like, "Oh, how'd you know it was available? We were going to keep it for ourselves." And I had to apologize. And then he's like, "Oh, good. Yeah." And then I called, and we're in Burlington right now. I called a big property manager in Burlington. I did the same thing, right? And then I apologized. I'm doing a reference check. And I asked, how many people do reference checks? She's like, "And how many people call you?" Big property manager in Burlington. She's like, "Almost nobody."
My God.
You wonder why people think real estate's risky.
I've heard some things. I hear it, especially from rental agents. Oh, well, somebody's either good or they're not. We don't get 3 applicants. You take the one. Like, if you got a good one, like, no, this is my property and I get to pick the best. I don't just take one applicant. It's everybody is motivated by their own interests, for better or for worse. Right. So I think you got to be real about that and just understand that. Yes, rental agents, property managers, better if they're in a community such as yours, where they have accountability to the people in the community, and it's word travels, right? So you got to do good business. I have my ex-policeman property manager screen for me. I'm pretty sure you can do it better than I can. That's great. That's great
because he's got to deal with the tenant if anything bad happens.
Right. Yeah, and and they got their own tricks, right? They know what they can. They're not going to bite off too much more than they can chew, right? They're going to pick a tenant that even if he isn't perfect, we know how to deal with that.
Right. And if nothing else, property managers spend a lot of time at the landlord-tenant board.
Yeah.
So they see who comes through.
Sure.
If you're dealing with someone who doesn't sit there, you've lost that screening.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so just before we go here, if somebody would like to learn more about you, Irwin, what is the best way for them to either contact you, follow you, or where would you like to send them?
Selfishly, wealthhacker.ca.
Wealthhacker.ca. Okay, so that's
our website for the conference.
Okay,
November 9th in Toronto, at the Toronto Congress Center.
Okay,
headline speakers Grant Cardone. And then if anyone wants to follow along, if you have the spelling my name, it's not the easiest to spell. You can follow me on social media.
Yeah, I'll link it. Show notes. If you're on Spotify, you're going to have to actually go to my website, andrew-hines.com, for all the show notes. For some reason, Spotify doesn't actually show them all. I just learned this because I went on. I'm like, I've been telling people to go to show notes, and you can't even get them. It cuts them off after like 4 lines. So anyways, yeah, I'll make sure Irwin's information is there, so you can just click the profile and you can follow on Instagram. Probably be a good spot.
I spend too much time on social media. I'm everywhere. I'm actually thinking about I'm probably going to delete them from my phone after the conference.
All right. Well, hopefully you get a few days of contact with Irwin then on Instagram. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be start of November. Hopefully it's not too late by then. Maybe late October. So we'll get to it. But real quick before we go, so what do you do when you're not giving to charity and focusing on real estate or stock investing?
Man, that's one of the toughest things about having this conference is a lot of those things have fallen to the wayside. And then what's been the nice thing is that I realized more of what I want to do. So after the conference, I'll be getting back to CrossFit. I'll probably be only doing private lessons for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I'm afraid of getting hurt.
Okay. Yeah.
I've done Jiu-Jitsu for close to 3 years. That's another thing. The nice thing about when you have money is I can pay for private lessons.
That's good. Yeah.
And I want to be that annoying parent that volunteers for all their kids' events.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially for the men who are listening, it's usually there's usually me and usually another dad. And then the rest of it's all nannies, grandmas, moms, at any sort of volunteer event.
Well, times have changed, right? It used to be one parent worked, one parent stayed home, and now it's both parents work and have to hire a nanny, and things have really, really changed, obviously, from the 60s and 70s, which you probably would have had every parent out there.
Oh, I think my wife wants the same thing. So we'll probably be the only 2 parents in attendance as volunteers for stuff our kids go to. That's amazing. That's freedom.
That is exactly right.
Could care less about money.
Yeah,
the money helps my charities and stuff. Yeah, could care less about actual having bills or driving a nice car. Yeah, right.
No, I agree completely. And yeah, my buddy Mike, I was talking about him earlier. Retired from work, retired his wife on real estate investing. They can walk their kids to the bus stop. They can pick them up. They can do all the things with their kids. Take them on vacations. Spend time. You can't buy time back.
No. Well, money is renewable. Time is not.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, Irwin, we obviously could go on, and I appreciate it. I think we've got a date lined up for me to come on your podcast. So we'll continue the conversation there. Yeah. And I really appreciate you coming over, and
thank you.
And we'll see you when I come over to you. Well, I guess I'll be Skyping you. So we'll see you on Skype. And at Wealth Hacker, I'll see you there.
Awesome. Thank you.